Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Lightspeed Racing Network's coverage of round number 3 here in the LSRL F1 series on Thursday nights, taking us to the streets of Detroit here at Belle Isle. Obviously, a well-known IndyCar street circuit now turned into an F1 street circuit on iRacing. I am Landon Quisenberry up here in the booth, and joining me alongside is a very good friend of mine, a very good teammate, well known here in the LSRL, and a Detroit, Michigan native, Cade Ferguson.
Hello, everybody. Just welcome to a park that I've visited many times in my life. Very tight and technical track for the F1 cars tonight.
And it's going to be an exciting one for sure. These drivers have already shown a lot of speed here today and at other tracks this week. It's going to be very fun to watch, very exciting to see these guys take on. They're going to have two DRS straights, one down the Penske straightaway and one down the back straightaway, I believe. So that'll be different from when we had Daytona. We actually do have DRS sections on this racetrack as compared to other racetracks that this series has shown up to before. But let's go ahead and get on to the action right now because we are underway in qualifying. So we'll go ahead and get that information out to y'all right now. So we are 5 minutes into qualifying exact here on this street circuit. Right now, Jimmy Weaver goes fastest on the board, as we're on board with Dylan Gonis, who now takes the top slot at a 1 minute and 4 second lap time. Very fast. But obviously you said you're here and you've been here many times in real life, Cade, but not like this, right? It's going to be very different. There's a lot of walls that usually aren't there, as well as a little bit lower traffic, but no speed limits.
Yeah, normally when we come to visit, there isn't any of this other than the rubber marks on the ground. Uh, Traffic at Belle Isle isn't too bad, being about right outside of the city, but yeah, it's a beautiful place to visit. And not gonna lie, seeing some of these shots from iRacing, they did a really good job recreating the island. Makes me a little homesick.
Obviously, iRacing always does a great job with these street circuits, and super fun to see a track like Belle Isle be on here. It's not often that they do get to come out and stand these street circuits. Obviously, Formula One doesn't have a lot, and NASCAR got their little one-off street circuit to get scanned with the Chicago street course that they had made just specifically for iRacing and that Pro Invitational League. But this place is not like Chicago at all. It's very, very weathered down, very old, very bumpy, and it's been a track that's actually been run before as well. So that's the fun part, is that if you're very familiar with watching IndyCar, you're going to be very familiar with a lot of the things that go down on this racetrack. As we'll go and take a look at some of the race information for today's race. Very similar weather to what is going to be in store for IndyCar when they do come to Detroit later on this year. A lot warmer weather, but very high humidity today, and you'll see that as they go down these straightaways when they activate DRS. There, you can literally see some of the air coming off of these rear wings in iRacing because of that humidity today. So it's going to be very fun to see that going down these straightaways. And I'm super excited because this track is just super tight. It's going to be very interesting to see how hard some of these drivers are going to push in these open wheel cars. They got to have a lot more courage than I do. I don't push the issue on road courses because I am not a road course racer. Like a lot of people, I'm not the expert at that, but these guys are going to have to push if they want to make up any positions, and especially at a street course like this, very tight, a lot of places to make mistakes, and a lot of places to get a ton of damage.
Yeah, very tight, very bumpy. Those curves can reach out and grab you, especially in turn 3. It's a hard right-hander after a long DRS straightaway. And yeah, what I like to do is what I call passive aggressive at the road courses. You wanna be aggressive, but not overly aggressive. It's gonna be all about protecting those cars. They're not like the stock cars. You don't really want to bump these around. They don't want to take any damage at all. So You just really gotta pick your targets when you're gonna pass. Don't put yourself in bad positions, especially not early.
Yeah, as I was about to say, if you end up bumping someone in these cars, you'll end up like that blue and yellow car down that straightaway that was all torn up that the 98 there had just passed by. That being Troy Banks that we're on board with right now. But that is one thing. It's just this type of racing takes so much, and I can only imagine from a driver's standpoint, you know, how difficult it's going to be for some of these guys to make these passes. I struggle with the road courses in general myself, and these guys have to activate DRS and keep it out of the walls, and you know, obviously the pit strategy is going to be something we see later on as well, because they're going to have to make at least one pit stop tonight. So it's a lot of things to keep track of in such a very tight and contested racetrack. It is going to be fun to watch. A lot of speed, a lot of slow, and a lot of technical on this racetrack. Well, right now we see Dylan Gonis still on top of the board. Then we have, it's going to be Jay Smart in second. And then in third, we have the 7th of John Silva. And then we have Ryan Reeves making an appearance in the F1 Series today. Then we have Weaver, Banks, Wilburn, Giuliano, Harris, and Murata are going to be all 10 of the drivers that'll be taking on the streets of Belle Isle today. Coming up on 3 minutes left in qualifying before we take on our 3-lap sprint race before the feature tonight. And obviously, Cade, that's something that me and you are familiar with regardless of the series. It's a rule that is across all series in the LSRL, is that sprint race. Obviously, they're going to have 3 laps tonight. Typically, me and you are used to more like 5 or 8 with the 2 series that we run. But how do you think that's going to affect the drivers today? With obviously they're going to get the qualifying in, and then they got that standing start, and then they have 3 laps to go and push as hard as they can to gain as many positions as they can.
Yeah, track position is going to be huge with this tight street course. So I definitely think if you're up front, you need to do everything you can to stay up front. And then if you're the rear, maybe roll the dice and try to push a little bit harder than you would in the race, because worst case scenario, wreck out in the feature, but the sprint race, you'll just start in the back. You can, plan your race accordingly. But I definitely think you need to be attacking and try to get every spot you can, because you're gonna need it. Like, I just don't think it's gonna be easy to just go from like 10th to first. It's really narrow. Nobody's gonna be giving a lot of room, and just really got to utilize your deep passing zones, like turn 3, or entering like the fountain section. I believe it's turn like 9 through like 11. I can't remember exactly.
Yeah, it's very difficult to kind of nail down those corners of these road courses. There is 14 listed, but obviously, you know, when you go to things like Watkins Glen, you ask certain NASCAR drivers about the turns at the Glen, and some of them say 5, some of them say 7, and some of them say 11. So it's not a universally agreed on thing about what corners are what at these road courses, but there are definitely some passing zones. Obviously, those heavy braking zones are going to be one major one to take a look at as well. In terms of getting passing done, you have to watch out for that. It's those are the key spots to go get some positions.
Yeah,
So
DRS zones are gonna be perfect for setting up those type of passes. But yeah, about the turn counter, I don't know, because when I was doing my homework earlier, I was watching the IndyCar races. They only labeled 13, so I think it just depends if they count the count, like the pink right before the start finish line as a corner stuff.
Yeah, that's going to be one thing to watch out for. I've seen, I think iRacing themselves say 14, and I think they do count that kink. So like I said, it's always user discretion at these road courses for sure and how many corners they have. But we're about to wrap up qualifying here in about 15 seconds as we see another car wounded down the straightaway as we've been looking at the boss man parked down the straightaway. As I was going to mention, that I did get to talk to Anthony right before we ended up going live here, and he's told me this track is bumpy, it's fast, and the blue curbs are not your friend. They will eat these cars alive. Well, here we go. We're getting ready for the sprint race. So we'll go ahead and let's take a look at our qualifying results. As obviously on the pole we had Dylan Gonis, second Jay Smart, third John Silva, and then below the top three we have Banks, Reeves, Weaver, Wilburn, Giuliano, Harris, Shivji, sorry if I butchered that, Murata, and Smith, rounding out the 12 drivers taking on the track tonight. Well, we're in for a good one. This is going to be all push. Obviously, we're getting ready for the typical standing start here in the F1 series for those that are unfamiliar. And I see a lot of soft tire compounds. This will probably be one of the only times we will see drivers underneath these compounds, as I do want to mention before we get going, hopefully before we get the lights on here, is that... Oh, here we go. The lights are coming on. And we are off and away for 3 laps here at Belle Isle to set the grid for the main event. Gonis with a good launch into one.
You just gotta really defend going down into turn 3. You gotta watch that inside. You see he's covering it good. He should get a good drive off. Set him up for the next sectors and hopefully try to pull away with the lead a little bit.
Yeah, that was a good move by Smart. He tried the outside, so he's going to already start to add some plays to that playbook. That's one good thing about this, and one thing to mention as well, that there is 3 laps. There is no DRS. Well, actually, there will be DRS. It's just going to be on the last lap. So these guys are going to have to keep right on each other if they want it in that last lap to go and make some moves.
Just got to stay within a second, and they should be all right to use DRS.
Gonis doing a good job. He's got a little bit of a lead over Smart. We'll see how much he can extend that before lap 3 to get out of DRS range. He's got a 4-car train behind him, and then the next car back being Reeves in the 93, who's got about a few seconds in between him and Banks. And already we got one in the pit lane being Weaver, and I believe Smith did not make the grid for the start. Yeah, that he was involved in an accident. Might get a quick jump
to
down
stretch
there.
out that lead, little by little. That's all it takes.
He's doing a good job. Let's see if he can pull out. These are quick laps here, but he's right on the verge of getting outside of that second range. As long as he's a second ahead, or sorry, excuse me, more than a second ahead of Smart, he does not have to worry about that DRS charge he's going to get.
And if you're smart, you want to push, but you don't want to overdrive the corners. It's all about corner exit. It's a very rhythmic track. A lot of corners set up for the next one. So you don't want to overdrive one corner until you drive going off into the next one. A lot of double rights and double lefts. So it's very easy to ruin your rhythm here.
Here we go, white flag, and he has DRS. He made up a lot of time in that inside section by that fountain. Doesn't get the job done on the outside there. I believe that was turn 3. Big time DRS charge down in that corner. A little bit of a blink from Smart, but he's right there. This is the section where he made up all that time against Gonis.
Oh, he tapped the wall. I don't know if he's going to have enough.
Oh, we got one in the wall. It's Banks in the wall hard out of that corner. As they're coming through the front straightaway, Kink, and it's going to be Dylan Gonis holding on from the pole position to win the sprint race.
And you can see how much that DRS helped Smart in that last lap. 0.3 faster.
That was a huge advantage down that straightaway, and it almost kind of cost him because, like I said, I did mention that Jay was faster than Dylan through that middle section, and that's what put him well into DRS range going onto that straightaway out of turn 2. He made up a lot of that time in that back half of the course. Got a little 1-minute warm-up to calm down, and this is where I can finally go over these rules that I was talking about. One thing that I did finally get nailed down that I got answered after last week is that it is mentioned that we do have to have a tire compound change through the race. That is mandatory for the drivers to change tires during the race. But one thing that I noticed is that you do not actually have to change to a different tire compound. It is not exactly like F1. So you can go from mediums to mediums or hards to hards, or even if you wanted to do 2 soft stints, you could do that. But you don't have to run a completely different, you don't have to run 2 different compounds. You just have to make a stop. This is to prevent guys from coming down pit road. Well, excuse me, let me rephrase that. Not coming down pit road at all and starting on a hard compound and going all the way to the finish. So you're at least guaranteed to see some form of pit stops in this race.
Yeah, I don't know if I would do a double soft stint. Maybe start in the soft, switch to the medium. But Michigan's known for a lot of good things. The roads are not one of them. These tires are going to be shredded after, I'd say with the softs, probably 3 to 5 laps. Mediums, I think they can go about 15 to 20 before they're really badly worn.
Yeah, and that is one thing I've heard from the drivers all race weekend so far, is that this track is bumpy. So they agree that those roads are not very forgiving at all. What we'll see is we're getting ready for the grid here. Gonis, who starts first after winning the sprint race. Here we go. 5 lights red, 5 lights dead, and we're off and away in the Detroit Grand Prix.
Gonis
And this time, Jay got a huge jump.
Yeah, Gonis seemed to, like, he spun the tires a little bit, and Smart's going to get to the advantage of turn number 3. He should be able to pull out a little bit.
And here we go, but
pounding him.
He's going to have to hunt him down now, but it's going to be interesting to see, because note that Smart is on the soft compound tires. Dilly's on the mediums, and he's in the wall. A big-time mistake. You do not see that often from Dilly G. Those cold medium tires not playing nice for Dylan Gonis.
Now he needs to collect himself. He made a mistake. He's got a little bit of damage, but no need to panic. Got to find that rhythm again. Evaluate how bad the damage is. It doesn't look like he needs to pit now. Just think he needs to try to work around getting Reeves, and then maybe he can start charging back on Smart.
Yeah, he's doing a good job. He's got to keep himself calm. He can't pull. Obviously, he calls me Lando. He can't pull Lando right here. Can't get flustered. Can't make more mistakes. That's the one thing about road course racing that you have to have. You have to be patient and you have to be able to forget things once they happen. Right now, we'll see as Jay Smart has taken off, and he's already got a 3-second lead up over Ryan Reeves, who runs second. But like I said, this will be interesting to note. This is one of the first times this season that I've seen someone actually start a race on the soft compound. So we'll have to see whether those soft tires are going to be able to last him a pretty good, decent amount in this race. We have 35 laps. But with how bumpy this track is and the speeds that you carry, these tires are going to wear down. There's no question about it. As we've had a few issues on the racetrack already, as I see a lot of drivers on pit road. Let's see what happened here. So I'm seeing one. Let's take a look and see what happened to Joseph Barada, who I see is on the pits. See what happened. Oh! That was a mistake that happened in front of him. He just had nowhere to go.
That's just how tight this track is. Someone spins out, and you have no room to go. It's like Monaco.
And this is one of the tightest tracks that F1 is going to take on this season. And I mean, he really had nowhere to go. I mean, one car is parked in there, and then he turned it into a parking lot once he came around the corner, and he just had nowhere to go. Unfortunate for Joseph. And that was also the 66 of Aaron Shivji that was also involved in that. That was the first car stopped in the incident and had its tires blown off. But luckily, once they do get towed back to the pits, as we saw them get towed, they do have a fast repair to take. That is one thing that's still intact in this league specifically, is that these drivers do have a fast repair in the pits to use at their disposal. Obviously, they are going to be hurt a good portion with their race because they just had to tow back to the pits or had to drive the car all the way around the track wounded. But there's a little bit of insurance there, and oh! That was Billy G, who's moved back in a second, as I just noticed that Ryan Reeves had also had an incident. We'll see if we can go take a look at that. But Dylan again, very tight on the exit of the corner, and almost ended up having to take that thing back to the garage.
Yeah, he's just trying to push. I've been watching his lap times, and he's slowly getting up to Smart's. Smart's tires, I believe, are starting to wear out. He ran a 106 to start off, and Dilly's times have been right around the 107, 108 range, so I don't think Smart is going to have too much of a tire advantage soon.
Yeah, and that will be interesting to see what compound he's going to jump to, whether he jumps to hards or softs. I would believe you would not want to be on a hard compound here at all. So I would assume he'd want to take it to a very comfortable margin to where he can go into mediums. But let's go and see real quick how Dylan ended up inheriting second, because that is one thing that we did miss on the racetrack, was what happened to Ryan Reeves. Oh! Right down there in the fountain section, and he has a car on top of him. That was very bad.
Yeah, working through the fountains, that little S's. To me, it seemed like he got a little too far to the left, and when he tried to turn back to the right-hander, he just kind of cut it, got the wall, and then unfortunately someone got in the back of him.
And we just caught that live. That was very unfortunate. Silva had hit the wall at turn 2, and then Giuliano collected, nowhere to go. And the boss man having to tow it back to the pits.
Yeah, what I learned from my homework, these cars can get pretty light coming out of turn 2. Even with the high downforce package, there's a little bump. Like it kind of goes a little uphill, and it will cause the back end to get a little upset. Unfortunately, a couple of cars have smacked the wall from it.
Yeah, and that's the unfortunate part too when you come to a track like this. I mean, those are sections at every racetrack like that, and unfortunately, whether you like it or not, most of the time with these road courses, those spots are right in the racing line. You're just gonna have to deal with them throughout the race. You know, there's multiple sections. I can think of one. It gets really free at Coda on the exit of that. I believe turn 2. That second right-hander after that first hairpin. It's very long sweeping. It gets very free in the stock cars that you have to watch out for. And obviously this track, no different, no stranger to that type of thing. Every racetrack has one. And that turn 2 bump is very vicious, as we've already seen. But 7 laps in, and so far Jay Smart has kept his head in the game. And he's been mistake-free so far. We'll see how that goes. I believe that was him last week at the Red Bull Ring. He was leading when Mac Miller was making a charge to try and pass him, and then Jay had ultimately caught a little bit of the sand down there in that S section. Well, sort of towards the back half. He caught the right side tires in the sand and just went straight into the barricades. It was unfortunate then, but he has a pretty good lead. He's extended it pretty well on Dilly G.
And a large part of that is just being mistake-free. We've seen how much speed just nudging the wall can take away from Dilly G.
And you got to think too, when those things happen, it doesn't only slow you down just for that lap. It's a mental game after that. You have to sit there and not make mistakes for the rest of the race when you make a big mistake like that.
Yeah, and you're overly cautious. Not even just where you hit the wall, everywhere on the track. You're gonna start braking earlier. Maybe you're not being like as aggressive with the throttle. It just takes a couple laps to kind of snap back into that focus that you had and go back onto the attack mode.
Yeah, that's the big thing too that you just have to learn as a driver with these races is you have to find a way to react and not be too aggressive because you made a mistake trying to make up time, but then also not be too cautious because you made a mistake and you don't want to make another one. It's a very weird balance as a race car driver to try and put that out of your mind. You almost have to turn your brain off in order to go faster sometimes.
Yeah, you just gotta treat every lap as like it was a different race. Like this lap, I nudged the wall out of 2. Just try not to think about it. Refocus on the next one. Focus on setting up the next corner. Last corner doesn't matter what happened. It's all about what's coming now. You wanna kind of be mindful of ahead, but you never want to be looking in the past in a race. That's how you're gonna hurt yourself more.
It's like an oxymoron. You want to be focused but not focused. You want to remember but don't remember. It's always weird. Jay is doing a good job. He's extending the lead, and obviously Mac Miller couldn't make it out tonight, so it would not be Mac tonight. It's going to be somebody else going in to victory lane tonight, which is going to be a big thing because Mac has won 3 straight. So someone tonight is going to get their first victory on the season, which is going to be big for the championship standings.
Yeah, if you're smart, just keep doing what you're doing. No need to push. You got 20 seconds. A 106.1 last lap. So 11 laps on softs, and he's still running some really fast laps. It's just out for a Sunday drive, you know. Enjoy the views around Belle Isle. Got the GM building in the background. We go to the fountain. You know, it's just taking a walk in the park.
literally and figuratively, as he comes down this back straightaway DRS zone before getting into this tight technical fountain section over here. So let's go see how Dilly's getting around here, though, because obviously Dilly is not out of it by any means. He's kept his head in the game, obviously, and I just wonder with his time going down, I just don't think that he should have the tire advantage. I almost wondered, did that contact with the wall knock anything with the front wing on the left side that's kind of giving him some issues through some of these corners? That's one thing with these cars, they're not tanks. They're the furthest thing from it. They're like me. Very fragile. You can almost snap them with a finger, it feels like. See if you can pull up maybe the sector difference here, see how much. This is going to be Gonis to Reeves. You're going to have to go on to Jay real quick to see the difference between him and Gonis. And obviously right there. I mean, Smart is still running his best laps of the race. Look at that, the purple time in Sector 2. That's not only his fastest Sector 2 time, that's the fastest Sector 2 time of the race.
Yeah, it's blowing my mind that these tires are holding up this long. I mean, at this point, maybe stretch them out. Maybe go soft to soft stint. It's clearly not affecting him 13 laps in. If he goes to like maybe lap 17 or 18 and still has no problems, I don't see why not throwing another pair of softs on.
Yes, he just got by, I believe that was Joseph Murata. Yeah, that was Joseph. Good old Joe driving for the Team Grid Finder team. That black and orange livery. Obviously, one thing that is unfortunate about the Mercedes that we don't have the privilege to run these things with trading paints. So you have to go with whatever the iRacing gives us, which makes it harder on us broadcasters. Oh, that was very tight with the lap car there.
Yeah, this is going to be the new problem, Smart. Navigating the lap traffic. He's been mistake-free. Now he needs to hope that the lap cars can be mistake-free in front of him.
Yeah, that's the major thing, too. It just, to your point, that you think back to what happened to Joseph. We just saw Joseph going a lap down. Why is Joseph going a lap down? He had a car that got jacked up right in front of him. He had nowhere to go. So now you have to worry about that with these with this street course. It is so narrow. He's gonna have to worry now about getting past these lap cars. Picking the right moments to pass them. It's a large task. Oh, that was very close to the wall right there.
Yeah, we know from the NASCAR side, being Noah Gragson, we got basically a track that's down to a single groove. Lap car in front of you hits the wall, completely ruins your race. The Smart just needs to be really careful when he catches lap cars.
Yeah, very infamous moment from the 2021 season for Noah Gragson's standpoint was that lap car getting up in. That was David Starr that had corded a right front tire right in front of him and can't help it. I mean, and then obviously that brings up the point the fans are always going to bring up, why are lap cars out there? Well, they're out there to race. They're all out there doing the same thing. They got the same goals, and it's it's something that you have to keep an eye on. They're fighting for the same real estate out there, and they have just as much right to be out there as anybody else.
Yeah, and with the point, every position matters. Like, you don't want to just be like, oh, I fell a lap down, let me finish 35th, when maybe you get a couple of lucky breaks, maybe you get back in the lead lap, and you, instead of giving up because you got lapped at lap 20, you fight back later on and get it like a top 15.
I mean, that's a big thing too to think about. With teams in real life, they do fight. At NASCAR standpoint, owner points, and that was something that the 13 needed. The 13 missed a bunch of races because they got bumped out of the owner points later on that season. And that Homestead race, if he didn't cord that right front tire, he could have came home 12th and would have never had to worry about getting bumped out later on that season. So, everyone's out there for a reason, and everyone's fighting, and at the end of the day, you never know when your day is going to come, and you could be sitting in the right spot at the right time and end up in victory lane. Obviously, that's more of a super speedway thing for NASCAR, but it really happens everywhere. You never know where you're going to finish until you cross the checkered flag.
Yeah, that applies here. Like, Smart has 27 seconds over everybody, but that does not mean that he's the winner. All it takes is one overly aggressive corner or a lap car or just messing up. He's got to pit, so he's got to be really smooth coming in and out of pit road. I've seen during practice people spinning out, just trying to get aggressive back to the throttle. Just has to be smooth and just stay calm, one corner at a time, one lap at a time.
And that's the hard part as a leader that some people just don't understand, is that you are pushing every lap. You don't want to take your foot off the gas pedal. He is pushing as hard as he was lap 1 just to get the lead right now. He can't just go on a cruise control. If he goes on a cruise control, then Dilly G is going to run him down. But if he pushes too hard, then, to quote Joey Logano's, one of Joey Logano's favorite sayings, the track's going to eat his lunch. He's going to be getting towed back to the pits and then hoping he can recover.
Yeah, and you can see he's like fractions of an inch away from these walls when he comes out of these tighter corners. And you see especially when he enters the fountain section, how much that car is bouncing on the ground. It's a rough track. He's just doing a great job. He's not taking it too aggressive, but he's not giving Dilly anything.
We had an accident there. We saw Garrett Wilburn lose a few spots on the racetrack. Let's go take a look and see exactly what happened. Ooh, why don't you take that one back? I'm not too sure.
I believe he got in the wall coming out of that. Just another tight sector, coming out pretty fast. And I'm assuming it just really knocked something free and he just couldn't get off the wall.
And he was still racing for position. Yeah, just right out on the straightaway. And then once he got there, he was just hooked in the wall. Very unfortunate there. I mean, once you're there, you can't get off of it. It's like glue. Oh, we just had another incident on the racetrack. Uh-oh, what happened, boss man?
Just pushing too hard. Talk about it time and time again. Passively aggressive. You want to be faster coming out. When you enter the corner too much speed, that's what happens.
Super unfortunate. He had a good run going. He was right up there in the top 5, and unfortunately now then drops back down a spot. Or 2 spots down into 7th. And that'll be unfortunate because he did get in that incident earlier, so we know that his fast repair is gone. So he could potentially be officially out of this race. I think Murata also had an incident, a second incident earlier that may have took him completely out. Because look at the attrition in this race. Murata, Weaver, Banks, Harris all started the race and are all out. No fast repairs left. Completely done for the day.
And we got the leader in pit lane now.
Well, here we go. The pit strategy commences. Lap 19. That's coming to 20. He's made it halfway. I guarantee he's going to come back on softs here.
Yeah, I just don't see why he wouldn't at this point. Yep. Alright, just has to take it really easy coming out. Looks like he's going to do so.
Oh, watch for the lapper. Oh, that was very close.
Yeah, just let him go. I wouldn't. No use trying to fight a lap car. You're not gonna gain anything.
Yeah, that was
Is
Aaron in the
Dilly's still out?
66. And then Aaron's going to go ahead and give him the spot back. Obviously, is then the blue flag with the yellow stripe being given to the 66. Which, for those that do not know, that does mean for you to concede the spot to the faster race cars behind you. Well, Dilly is closed down the gap now with that pit stop, but Dylan himself is also going to have to come down pit road at some point.
Yeah, I'm surprised he never pitted earlier with the left front wing damage. I've been watching it. You can see it's pretty crinkle, so I'm surprised he didn't come down earlier. Maybe try some strategy to use that faster pair. But maybe he's just hoping the leader makes a mistake or something. Oh, so he... Oh, I thought it said he pit. That's my bad.
Did Smart go back down on pit lane there?
I think he did. Maybe something happened? Yeah, he's down, back down. Yeah, maybe he's coming back for that faster pair.
Or is it anything that indicated maybe some damage? I'm not entirely sure.
I was caught
But now this
speeding,
changes
maybe?
everything.
Alright, well
I mean,
now
that
Dylan
was...
needs to go on attack. He's got the lead. He knows he still has to make a pit stop. He's got to attack and be smooth about it.
Be interesting to see, and we'll see how Dylan can now maintain this lead as we're coming down to the wire here. I wonder if Dylan's going to switch to softs. I mean, if Jay has made these softs work this whole race, or for almost half the race, that makes me wonder. I wonder what Dylan was thinking starting on the medium compound. I wonder what Dylan felt compared on his tires to what Jay was feeling. That'll be something that we could potentially ask these guys once they get up here in the booth if they stay the way they are, because we will get an interview with the top 3 finishers tonight. But Jay's going to have to attack now. He's made an extra pit stop, and Dylan's going to have to make one too. So we'll go ahead and show our stint right here on tires. There's Dylan right there. At the top of that board, he's gone 21 laps on these medium tires. Oh, he almost got up in the wall. That's been a tight section for Dylan pretty much all race, and I just almost wonder if it's that left front damage that's been giving him issues through there.
It's interesting to see how long he wants to stretch the stint, knowing the car behind him has really fresh softs, and the fallout hasn't been that great. Like we really thought it was gonna be more aggressive on the tires at the bumpy surface.
Yeah, that is one thing that's been surprising this whole race, is that Jay went 19 laps on those tires, and multiple times to that run, he put up the best times in each sector. At least one time throughout that run in a different sector. He had a few times in Sector 2, a few times in Sector 3 where he went fastest again. So it's curious. I mean, obviously, it's a lot harder because you gotta realize that Dylan is doing this all himself. He has to manually change his tires and stuff on his own. He doesn't have a pit crew or an engineer on the box to do it for him. This is all manual. So it is curious as to why we know it's going to be hard for him to jump on that situation and make that change accordingly, but it's also surprising to see if he is going to make this change or not. I wonder what his strategy is here. I almost wonder, because he does have to make that extra pit stop, is he trying to wait to the last couple laps here? Because we know if you can go 20 laps on softs, you could probably take these mediums all the way to the end. So I'm almost wondering if Dylan can wait and pit within the last 2 laps with Jay trying to chase him down and hope that Jay makes a mistake trying to run him down. Is this the strategy that Dylan's playing off of right now?
Yeah, that definitely would be my guess. Is maybe letting Jason catch him and try to force Jason to make a mistake. I mean, he already took an extra pit stop that put him behind Dilly. Oh, here's Dilly now.
Well,
We'll
we'll
see
see.
if
We'll
he's gonna
see
put
when he
down the
comes
stop.
on here.
Jason's gonna take the lead back. Now Dilly's basically gotta hope that Jason makes a mistake.
Yeah, he did have damage. There was that fast repair. I saw that wing just come right out.
Right back to the mediums.
Yeah, I think unfortunately there's just not enough time on the pits for him to make that change to a different compound. Luckily for Dylan, though, that extra stop that Jay had to make has put him a little bit closer, because he was 18 seconds before the pits, and now he's looking at a 10-second gap. The only unfortunate part is that he's on an inferior compound. We focused on the leaders. Let's go ahead and we'll go and take a look at some of the guys here in the field. Obviously, we'll take a look through the field. We got Jay Smart running along in first right now. And we got Dilly G, Dylan Gonis chugging along here in second. Third, a lap behind the leaders, is Ryan Reeves. Good to see Ryan make an appearance here in the F1 series and having a good run himself. Obviously, satellite teammate to you in the Xfinity team standings and an actual teammate to me, as he's on Wilder Graphics Team 1 in Xfinity with me. Obviously, Katie, you're on Team 2. Here's John Silva running fourth. We saw him have that issue at a turn 2 that had collected Giuliano earlier. And I think, unfortunately for us, all the other drivers are sitting in the paddock right now. Wow,
Jason
and
just
Smart
ran
just put up
another.
the fastest lap of the race.
He's close to qualifying times. It's a 104. I can't even remember the exact interval, but it was a 104 something.
There were some pretty quick pole times, and I agree. I mean, this is qualifying laps he's putting out. We saw Dilly G ran a 105. I mean, a second slower about
Yeah,
than
and I think
Jay.
that's just a compound difference. A 105 on the medium is pretty good.
One thing that I forgot to mention, that we always know with the F1 cars, it's always a game we always have to remember to go over, is that they don't fuel these things under pit stops. They're gassed up, ready to go to the end, and that faster lap is coming by virtue of the car being lighter. There's less fuel in the car because he's burned off some of it now, so he's just continuously running faster laps throughout the race with this compound, or just throughout the race in general, no matter the compound you're on. And that proved it in his lap time right there, going fastest at lap 27 of 35 on about 8-lap-old tires. See if Jay can hang on. He's obviously about to catch a lap car right there. I believe that's Silva up ahead. He will be catching a slipstream and probably DRS off of eventually.
Dilly's closing the gaps slowly. I just don't know if he's gonna have enough time. 10 seconds. A lot of time to make up.
As we see through the sector difference, Dilly's been faster through every sector so far. It might not be over. I didn't think it was over to begin with because racing's racing, but enough to see Smart just put up the fastest Sector 5 time of the race. So Dilly's going to have to hope to do the same himself. Faster that lap, but slower this lap.
Yeah, he's about 2/10 slower overall lap time. He ran a 1:15.0 and a 1:50 or a 1:50 a 1:15.2 that last lap. Sector 2 is looking a little better though.
He's able to close it just a little bit, so overall he's been a little bit faster than Smart this lap. We'll see how Sector 4 and 5 goes, because this is where Smart has made up a lot of his time all day. There we go, 2/10 right there for Dilly. He's making a charge, but unfortunately he only has 6 laps to make it work. A little bit slower through Sector 1 again. But Dilly might get what he wants here with this lap car. Obviously, DRS not going to help Dylan's case, but just that little bit of extra speed that Jay's going to get riding behind him. Oh, that was tight, but he's going to be able to get through it clean. Look at that. Dilly was about 5/10 faster total so far. Just from a lap car. Just from a lap car being in the way.
Dilly just ran the best lap of the race on mediums, a 1:04.589.
He is putting up such a good effort right now. But the unfortunate part is just, it just might be a little bit too late. He's really starting to reel him in, though. I really think that wing damage earlier hurt him so much. I just wonder if he would have came a little bit earlier, would he been able to make this charge? We'll see. His big time gain was down in Sector 4. Right on board with Dilly and see how he's getting around here. We'll go right in the cockpit view. Gosh, I mean, look how tight this track is.
It's tight, it's bumpy, the curbs are monstrosity. I'm so glad that I'm not out there and up in the booth.
Yeah, a lot easier from our perspective right now. I love racing, but I don't know if I can handle this.
Yeah, I'll never forget when the next gen cars came out, and I thought, I'm gonna try to bring them to Belle. I think I was in a practice session for like 5 minutes before I realized I can't do this.
Just look at the speeds. I mean, especially these F1 cars here. I mean, it's just unbelievable.
Smart was a couple tenths faster that lap.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think that for Dylan, the push just came a little bit too late. He has put on a show. He's super quick. But unfortunately, Jay has just been money around this racetrack. We'll see. It ain't over, though. Anything can happen still.
Yeah, 2 laps, just under 5 miles, 20-something corners, plenty of room for a mistake. Just gotta keep calm, just manage your stuff.
The worst part, and we know as drivers, this is the worst part of the race. Being right up front in the lead, you've worked the entire race to get to this point, and everything is just amplified. The laps feel like they take 5 times longer. Your heartbeat is just racing 5 times faster. It is just amazing how much the adrenaline just rushes on just these last couple of laps, and how hard it is to be perfect when you've been perfect all day.
Oh,
and there it is!
It's the hard wreck.
Oh my goodness!
Wow.
He might be able to get back to the pits, but oh my goodness! What a heartbreaker! Jay Smart coming to the white flag, goes into the wall out of the final corner, and now Dylan Gonis just has to cruise.
I'm speechless. I mean, led 33 laps. And just made a mistake. It's heartbreaking.
He was perfect all day. I mean, that is just unbelievable. But obviously, one person's misfortune is going to be the greatest thing for somebody else. Unfortunately, in racing, somebody has to lose. And coming through 13 and 14, Dylan Gonis is going to win the Detroit Grand Prix.
I mean, just wow. Excellent rebound for Dilly. Didn't have a good first lap. Stayed with it. Used that fast repair. Took care of it. And was there at the end.
That right there is just shows you just cannot give up. Had wing damage early. He had it right. He was in the perfect position to start. You know, through his own doing, put him a little bit behind the 8 ball, but just kept his foot in it all day long and was able to be in the right spot at the right time, lasting through. Only 3 cars finished the race, and that shows how tough this track is. And able to take his first victory of the season. I mean, what a race. Take a look at our finishing results. Dylan Gonis takes the #1 spot tonight. Alongside him on the podium in second is going to be Ryan Reeves, and John Silva will be the third and final car that will finish out the race tonight and will fill out the podium. Then after that, it'll be Jay Smart after a literal heartbreaking, gut-wrenching finish. He'll bring it home fourth. And then 5th will be Aaron Shivji, and then from there on down through the rest of the grid will be Giuliano, Wilburn, Murata, Weaver, Banks, Harris, and Smith will round it out in 12th. Man. Well, the best part about being up here is we're going to be able to bring these guys up. We'll go and get them up for an interview. We'll go ahead and wrangle them all up into the waiting room. And there's Reeves. Alrighty, let's see if we can go ahead and talk to our third place finisher tonight, John Silva. This is Landon and Kate in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I'm here. How you doing?
Good. What a great race. Obviously, you survived all the way until the end. Only 3 cars finished tonight. That's just how tough this racetrack is. But you ended up on the podium.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you so much for the sponsors and that we can, race and have fun. It was a little bit crazy because, it was Netco. So, Dylan, you're good though. It was completely Netco. And I was a little bit frustrated because, we were fighting like actually really good. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to put hard tires and let's go to the end. And yeah, the car felt amazing. Uh, I had grip like 4 laps after I changed the tires, but it was really good. When I saw Jay that that I think he's marshal or something, I was like, oh my god, what is going on? And I just realized that just 3 cars finished, 4 cars. So this is crazy. It's crazy. And yeah, congratulations to Ryan, man. You really killed the car. And Dylan, you deserve it, buddy. Don't worry. I mean, it was completely inevitable, but congratulations.
Absolutely. I was going to ask, how were the tires tonight? We did think that, this track is really bumpy. We heard a lot of drivers talk about that. Did you feel like there was a lot of degradation or no? Because we saw, some guys, Dylan went all the way on the mediums for 2 stints, but Jay had went softs the entire run.
When I changed to hard tires, I was pushing all the time, so I was realizing that maybe I could just put mediums because it was way better, to be honest, way better. So I think the degradation wasn't that bad, to be honest. And Dylan and Jay is really, really good with tires. So yeah, for the next race, I'm gonna take into account that. But yeah, it wasn't that bad of degradation on the tires. No.
All right. Well, obviously a great finish for you, bringing it home third, and obviously you couldn't get here alone. Obviously, sim racing, there's a lot of people that help out. So if you got anyone you want to shout out, go on ahead. The floor is yours.
No, I'm fine though. Thank you so much for you know forecasting the race and everything, the streaming the race. Sorry, and yeah, thank you. Congratulations to Dylan and Ryan, and thanks to you, buddy.
Thank you. Well, everybody, that was our third place finisher tonight, John Silva, who will bring it, or he'll round out the podium for us.
Yep.
Good finish for John. Okay, do you want to take care of the next one, or?
Do I have the access?
Well, I just wanted. I'll pass it over to you. I got it. I forgot about that. All right, let's talk to our second place finisher tonight, Ryan Reeves. This is Landon Cade in the booth. Got a copy?
I got you guys.
Well, it was looking like you were going to finish third there, but you were able to bring it on home in second. Obviously, good race for you. Good to see you. I think this is the first F1 race you've run all season, and you bring it home second on the podium. How do you feel?
I feel pretty good. I mean, yeah, I did hear over crew chief that I think it was Jay. He hit the wall or something, and I started pushing, and then obviously it said P2 for me. So I was like, all right, well I got P2, but I kind of messed up early. I think it was like the second lap. I hit a curb and shot me straight into the wall, but thankfully we had that fast repair. So it was a good learning experience for the first time.
Absolutely, and that was a good recovery. It was the story of the top three tonight was recovering from mistakes made early, as opposed to making them late. But Cade, you got any questions for Ryan?
Yeah. So, just I'm still confused on the whole tire. So the whole track is bumpy. It, the curves are aggressive, but did you feel like there was any tire fall off?
For me on my medium set, the first tower I was running, probably about the lap like 19 to 22, I could feel some understeer, so I kind of let off a little bit. But other than that, I mean, on the softs for the last whatever it was, 14, 13 laps, I mean, they felt pretty good.
Absolutely. Well, obviously a great finish for you tonight. Obviously, congrats on your second, and I'm obviously sure there's a lot of people that you want to go ahead and shout out. So go ahead and take this time. Shout out to whoever you like, man.
Yeah, thank you. I'd like to shout out my sponsors: Lenoma Racing and Services, Tugger Motorsports, Tech Design Consulting. Obviously, I'd love to have them on the car, but that's not possible. I like to thank my parents. You know, they got me into all the racing stuff, and I know they're watching right now, so this one's for them. But thanks for you guys having the league. It's my first time Formula One racing. Hopefully, I can be back. Can't always make it to these Formula One races, but I had a lot of fun tonight. So hopefully, I'll be back next week.
Absolutely. Obviously, you are good at whatever you do. You're good at the ovals in NASCAR, both trucks and Xfinity. You're good on dirt. I know that one for a fact. You whooped me the first time I ran in the dirt league, and obviously proved tonight you can do it on the road courses and the F1 cars too. But we'll go ahead and let you go, and congrats on your second, man.
Thank you. I like putting on a good show, so it's all for the fans.
Well, there you have it, everyone. That's your second place finisher, Ryan Reeves. Such a wheel, man. So good to see him come out. A great finish for him. But we got to hand it off. The man of the hour. Dilly G, this is Landon and Kate in the booth. You got a copy.
What's going on, fellers?
Well, what up? It's obviously a great result for you.
Yeah, I lucked out. I don't know what happened. I was following him all dang right. Jay, that's it. He must have had a doozy on the last lap there.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna go ahead and take you through. Obviously, it was a wild race. You started up on the pole, defended him well in the sprint race, then had to make a recovery. You had that you lost the lead down into turn 3 on the first lap, and then had the contact with the wall on the exit either of 3 or 4, and you had that wing damage. But you kept your foot in it, recovered, and ultimately were able to capitalize on. I mean, I can't even explain it. Just an unlikely mistake there at the end. It was almost like a commentator's jinx. It felt like
Perfect.
with me and Cade.
Thank you for that. Well, like I was shocked. Well, when I got the damage and lost the lead there, that wing damage was slowing me down quite a bit. But I kind of just like, well, look at where we're racing. Maybe he'll do the same. He's really fast, and he doesn't seem like he's slowing down at all. And then when I seen that he did like 21 laps on softs, I was shocked. I was like, so I just pushed my mediums as far as I wanted to, slapped on the softs, and I was going to try and gun him down. Gained a couple seconds on him here and there, but then he took off again. Then I was like, well, P2's looking pretty good. I'll chill out a bit. And then I seen the relative keep on creeping up there in the white flag, so he must have had a doozy, and yeah. I wouldn't have won it if he would have kept it clean for sure. He's super fast. There's no way I could keep up with that guy.
Yeah, I mean, it was unbelievable. You kept your foot in the end, and we were gonna ask about those tires because you kept with the mediums, but we were just shocked at how bumpy that racetrack was and how he was able to keep on the softs the whole race.
That's it. It's insane. I even queued up in race chat about 20 laps in. Like, how are you still on softs? Like, scary.
I mean, it was unbelievable. It was such an unlikely place, and I've seen him talk. He didn't make a mistake through there, he felt like, and he doesn't even know what happened himself. He was right in the kink through 13 and 14, so it was an odd section for a mistake, but I'm sure. Let's see, Kate, you got any questions for Dilly G?
Yeah, so when you got that wing damage, how did you recompose yourself? Because obviously, you start on the pole, you feeling pretty good, then you make a mistake first lap of the race. So what did you do to recompose yourself and kind of work through the damage?
Yeah, well, I was a little bit wired up at the start, as anybody would, you know. Don't like making mistakes, and mistakes here are quite costly, so I just kind of took a deep breath, and I knew Ryan was fairly new, so I didn't know how he runs, so I was like, maybe he'll wreck out, and then I'll get P2, just it's a lot of race left, and same with Jay. I was like, he's running qualifying lap after qualifying lap. There's lots of rooms for mistake here, so I kind of just like lifted my head back up and said like, with the wing damage, we'll see how it feels. And I debated coming in, slapping on hards, putting a front wing on, and then seeing people dropping like flies because, well, look where we're racing. It's pretty unforgiving, and as they were dropping out, I was like, well, this wing damage ain't hurting too bad. So I also don't know what happened to Jay. He ended up having to pit twice there, so that brought me closer to him. And yeah, I don't know, I just kind of figured anything could happen with this much race left, so I just picked my head back up and kept on running my race, I guess.
Yeah, obviously a crazy night, a lot of crazy occurrences, and ultimately you ended up on top. And I know you don't get here alone. Obviously, I'm sure you got some people that you love to shout out. Obviously, for your win tonight.
Absolutely. Sim Speed Shop, Grid Finder, Track Time Entertainment, the Butt Kicker, Sim Racer Hub, Hearn Esports, everybody that supports the league, Wilder Graphics, they're my guys. I wish we could paint these things, you know. This is as beautified as I could try and make it with iRacing could get me, but I'm sure if Wilder Graphics had free range on this car, it would be amazing. You guys for doing the broadcast, and yeah, all the guys, all the admins putting this league together and making all this possible. You guys use your free time and free energy during your day to do this stuff, so I find that very admirable, and I respect that.
Absolutely. Well, great run, great recovery, and ultimately at the end of the day, you probably have won one of the wildest Grand Prix we're gonna see this season. But obviously, thanks for joining us up in the booth, and hopefully we can get to talk to you soon later on in the season.
You guys rock.
All right, that was our race winner, Dylan Gonis. But man, I am just speechless. What a race!
Yeah, we really did get treated to a really great race. I'm really happy for my hometown track, putting on a good show for everybody. And it's just crazy. I mean, we talked about it at the beginning of the race. You just got to take care of everything. And the top three were the people that took care of their cars the best.
Absolutely tough track, tight track, and a fast one. And these drivers were absolutely fantastic today. You know, it even though there was a lot of drop drop in the field with there at the end with just accidents. Everyone just did an absolutely fantastic job with what they got, and I hate throwing in some puns out there, but they really were street fighters tonight. And unfortunately, it took a combo breaker to have Dylan Gonis end up in the winner's circle tonight. But that's pretty much going to do it here for us tonight. What an exciting round 3 for the Lightspeed Racing League F1 series here on the Lightspeed Racing Network. And we will see you all at round number 4 on Thursday at Monza. Until then, we'll see you next time.